Hello everyone, good day to you all. In this video demo presentation, we'll be showing you the game Pathfinder that Jaren, Clark, and I created. In this video, we will walk you through how the game works, and its flow, the core mechanics behind it. Also, you'll get to see the gameplay in action and how the player interacts with the environment. And we would say it's an honor for us to share this game demo with you all. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy our first ever game demo. In this video presentation of mine, I'll be just showing you a quick demonstration of the codes as well as on how the game runs and such. But first of all, let's just look at the first in the scene that Clark created, which is here the pavilion, the beautiful pavilion that Clark created, as well as the environment, the rocks, the trees, the water right here, and of course the scene or the background. And next is the cards that Clark also created. Here we have seen that the cards are facing down because later on the game the player will choose a card and it'll be picked randomly. Like if the player choose a card and they see the card, then the card will proceed as chosen. And of course, as we see here, we have the ready, the button, which is, just a simple navigation, just like in normal games. When you are playing, you're gonna click play or next. But in here, let's focus on the hierarchy or in the code that makes the game run. First of all, we have here the extra device, which runs the game on a PC without a VR. But let's focus more on the managers, which, basically the back end or like the backbone of the game. So let me just first present to you the XR origin, which presents the arm of the game. Like this arm can interact with the objects right here that Jaren will introduce to you later, as well as it has a like laser pointing out, which acts like a mouse, and you can click here on the ready. And of that fader screen, that plays on the game. Like when you play the game, it will have a fader screen. Let me just show you a quick bit.
Before we
There you go.
begin,
It has a quick, like a smooth transition in the game. Next up, we have the targets that will be shown later. These targets are like components or like placeholders for the cards that you will see later. And of course, we have the cards itself. These cards can be chosen randomly by the player, and they will be put into place somewhere in here, or which is the targets or the placeholders for the card. And also we have an event system on which it can navigate the click speed, move dead zone, repeat delay, such like that, that it can input the game itself. And also the timeline, we have a timeline in the game. The timeline means that if you navigate something or press this button, the game will continue. Otherwise, it will not continue, like, in some normal games. And also, I think that's all that Jaren will introduce to you later, the game itself. So Jaren, you may take the stage.
All right, so on to the technical, a little bit of the technical aspects of the code. So we actually have two like main scripts. We use like stuff like laser controller toggler to toggle the laser on and off, but pretty much we have two scripts that actually manage a lot of the things that go on inside of the game. So things are probably going to be split up in the near future because the game manager is handling so many things and we could probably split them up. But for now, this is how the game is going. So as you can see, actually we have two major scripts that we use or frequently change for like animations or whatever. And so it's not that we only use two, but there are stuff like laser control toggler and card hover glow. This is to control the glow of the card, and this is to control the toggle of the laser. And basically, we have, as I said, there are two major scripts that we have. So we got game manager, underscore card reading, and we also have card animator. So with game manager, this game manager is basically hooked up to a game object just to organize things, and it is in charge of, it's basically like just the central controller of everything. It manages like the game state and the sequence flow. It like utilizes a playable director and an array for the voice lines, and it's used to play the instructions themselves. Basically, the voice instructions are actually inside of a timeline, so they're separated from the code. They're not really inside of the code. The code is used to play the timeline, but the voice lines themselves are inside of a separate timeline. And as you can see, it also stores like a lot of things like in the transform arrays, just to call like the slot targets and door targets and stuff like that. So the code begins with awake, and as you can see, it tries to acquire like necessary components like its playable director, and it validates crucial transform references like the slot's target, the door targets, or the card reveal placeholder. It's defined in the inspector. And as you can see in start, and it finds all the card animator instances to populate sort of the available cards thing. And it also starts the background music via a sound manager, which is a separate game object. It also sets initial card interactability to false. So if the voice line isn't done yet, or if like there isn't a sequence where they have to pick a card, they cannot interact with the card just yet. And basically, the core progression is basically driven by the current prompt index. It basically it advances with when proceed to next step is called, or if it automatically if it automatically after a card placement does that with advanced prompt sequence. And also we heavily use like a lot of coroutines for timing. Play timeline at end of frame. It ensures that the timeline starts cleanly, like after the current frame, and wait for time completion. It pauses the execution until the timeline finishes. So re-enables the card interaction. And so the delayed advanced coroutine. It adds a brief pause before moving to the next prompt after the card lands. And when the player interacts with the card animator pretty much notifies the game manager via like the process card selection and dictionaries, and stores necessary data for the upcoming automated flight once all the cards are placed. And this start door sequence with circling coroutine, it initiates the final animation. It sort of just iterates through like the place cards stored in slot index to card map via the animate circle fly the morph to door. So it passes through parameters like the player transform for circling durations, and sort of just yada yada yada. And meanwhile, with the card animator script, it manages the behavior and appearance of just each individual card. So each card gets this component in it. It actually doesn't. It really doesn't. The only thing that gets this component is the prefabs. So basically, it's already applied inside one card, and technically it's in each card. So basically, this coroutine is what allows the player to pick up the card for just a few seconds and like reveal it for himself and actually interact with the card before it reaches the targets, pretty much. Until the game manager signals it via the manual flip period, as you can see. So the game manager then triggers the card's automated movement by calling either the start automated flight or basically the animate circle fly the morph to door, depending on which time. So it calls animate circle fly then morph to door as soon as all 5 cards have been picked. So there's a lot of animations in these coroutines. Basically, it animates the circling of the player. It animates going to one placeholder to another. It animates the going to the one of the targets and turning into massive doors. So there's a lot of physics and sort of just calculations from going from one place to another. And that's basically how the card animator works.
So there you have it, that Sharon has presented the game codes. Now let us look on the game itself that Sharon will now play using a VR. Now sit back, relax, and let's see how the game goes.
Before we begin, let's define a question to which you wish to find an answer and note it down. Click Next when ready. Great. Let's choose the card which reflects your current situation. Now, let's choose a card that demonstrates your desired state. Now, let's determine your biggest obstacle. The next card will show you possible solutions you may undertake. Almost there. Let's choose a card that will show you the resources and strengths you have.
So there you have it, that Sharon presented the whole game. Now it's time for Clark to present the scenes that he created mostly in the game, that we've seen earlier, the background, the scene, the environment, and many more. So Clark, you might now take the stage.
So I made a few scenes in Blender. These are the designs that I made that will be used in the game. But after getting our hands on the VR, we ultimately decided that these kinds of scenes is better, like the very serene, very relaxing scenes. And we've also tried doing simple VFX like this glowing.